What is up, you guys? It's your girl Chanel Janae from around the way. Hey, and thank you for tuning into my channel today. In today's video, I was hoping to be able to encourage someone who may be going through this situation, or maybe somebody can relate to what I grew up having to deal with, I guess. So, as you read in the title, I have two got hair coming off of me. That's why I'm happy nobody lives with me, because they will be so annoyed. I have hair everywhere. I have wigs everywhere, weave everywhere, and leftover hair everywhere. And I clean it up all the time and just come back. As you've seen in the title, this is a conversation about me having two fathers. That's right, two fathers. How did this happen? What do you mean by having two fathers? All that good stuff. I'm here to tell you now. All right, it's like this. My mother and my father were together. They were married. I was born. It sounds so normal, doesn't it? Okay, so look, my parents got together, got married, had me. Clearly, things did not work out leading up to them separating. This separation happened when I was very, very little. So little that I don't really remember my parents together. Like I really don't quite remember them being a couple. I was a little girl. So they eventually split up, go their separate ways. My father stays in one state, my mom and I go to another state while I am yet a little girl. Grew up all this time with just me and my mom for years. It was just me and her, so we were always like this. We were and still are besties. That is like my best friend. I love her. Every time I tell people about how much I love my mom, and like I be trying to explain just how close we are, I always say that when I was little, I was up her butt. I don't even be nasty, like I'm not even saying that in a nasty way, but that's just how like I really look at it. Like I was her shadow for the longest. I didn't want to go anywhere that she wasn't going. I didn't want her going anywhere that I wasn't going. I was literally just up her butt. Like that's why I called it that. Just always wanting to be with my mom, because that's always been my comfort zone. Just me and her, you know. We joked all the time, laughed all the time, just had a good time together. And it was like that for years. Throughout all of this time, every summer I would go be with my father. Always enjoyed that time too, because I got to see my cousins, and it was just fun to be around other kids within my age group. Like they were my first cousins were like my age, so we grew up together, you know, almost as sisters, even though I didn't grow up in the same state as them. Every time I saw them, we just connected and had a good time. I loved going out there. Then I got to see my daddy, and he's like, you know, I'm the youngest. On my father's side, there is me and my sister, and I'm the youngest. Like every time I went out there to be with him, you know, I was just his princess, you know what I'm saying? Like it was always good times going out there. I pretty much went to stay with my father and see that side of my family every year, every summer, because that's when I'm not in school. Probably up until when I started working, I want to say, because that's when I couldn't do it anymore, because obviously I was working, making that money. And I started working as soon as I could work, I started working. So I'm guessing that was 16. Eventually my mom dates and she meets her husband, who is my dad. Now this is where I have to put a disclaimer and check everybody on who I call what, so that there's no confusion. My biological father, I call him daddy. That is my daddy. That is my father. When I'm talking to people and I'm saying my daddy, that's what I'm talking about. My mom's husband now, obviously that makes him my stepfather, but he is also my father, and I call him dad. So I always say my dad when I'm talking about my stepfather, and I'll say my daddy when I'm talking about my biological father. And that's just what I've always looked at it as, both of them being what I would consider a father, my father, which makes me therefore have two fathers. So I'm just briefly explaining what it was like growing up. How did I adjust to divorce? How did I adjust to having a step parent? How that affected me, and any tips and advice I can give to someone who may be going through the situation now, or just interested in my upbringing. So once my mom met my dad and she was dating him, I liked him so much. He was always a fun guy and very, very funny. So our bond was really made by us playing games. He would play games with me and stuff like that. Like he's a really nice person. He's good with kids now and like young people now, and that's obviously he was good at that even then. He was so fun. Moving forward, they get married. I was excited about this. I was still trying to figure out how to make that first transition once they got married. So that's the first thing that I want to talk about. Because before they got married, obviously I wasn't calling him dad at this time. My dad was preaching. He was a minister at this time, a reverend. So I was at this time calling him Reverend so-and-so. I'm not really sure if I want to give names at this time and like get too personal with that information. But let's say that I made his I'm wearing green today. So let's say his last name was Green. And I would just say like, hey Reverend Green, something like that. So the first hard thing is that once they got married, like I was still saying Reverend Green. And I'm like, I know they're married, but what am I calling him? And I had to sit there and think for a while of what I was going to call him, because I understood that with him being my father now, because he married my mom, it's weird to be out in public and still be saying Reverend Green. Eventually, I don't know if my mom helped me with this or not, I can't remember. But I finally landed on Dad. And I'm like, there we go. It was still very personal. It was still showing relationship. First thing of advice would be figuring out, what are you gonna call him? Let that come naturally to you. I'm not here to tell you what to call them. Maybe Mr. Something is what you would prefer to call them. That's perfectly fine. I know plenty of people who call their step-parent, mother or stepfather, Mr. and Mrs. Something. And I think that's still very respectful. It's just completely up to you and how that relation flows. Depends on the vibe, Fast forward, they get married, and like I said, our bond was really about us having fun. But then once they got married, rightfully so, the relationship could no longer just be kicks and giggles every day. Stepped in. I feel like he married my mom, observed, and then stepped in, which was 100% correct. Only thing is that everybody grows up differently. The way my mom grew up may be different than how my dad grew up. The way I grew up may be different than how you grew up. Growing up with just me and my mom, we had a very cool and just dope understanding and vibe. Meaning, I never disrespected my mom. My mom never disrespected me. My mom never treated me bad. I never treated my mom bad. I never went against her word. Everything she told me to do, I've always done then and now. I feel like God just put us together because he knew what he was doing. And my mom is I always call her an angel. I don't know if she knows that, but I tell everybody my mom is an angel. So she's very sweet, very kind, very giving. And it's like, there's nobody in this world that cannot like her. If you don't like her, then I don't know what she could have done to you, because she's just so sweet. Like, there's no way you don't like my mom. it's so, with that being said, we always had that vibe, and it's like, why would I want to upset such a sweet woman? Or why would I want to make my mom upset and mad and angry and stuff like that, when all she does is treat me nicely and provide me with what I need and play with me and take me places. Like, that's just always how it was. We just always meshed well. There was never any bad blood between me and my mom, and it was just like, honestly, y'all, perfect. When they got married, I was, I believe, 8 years old. So I didn't have a lot of responsibilities yet at that time. I was still young, and I feel like my mom would have eventually gave me more responsibility. It just didn't get to that point yet. But when by the time my dad came along and they got married, he did press that I get given responsibilities, and that, you know, anything like chores or something like that, to clean up something, wash dishes, something like, you know, things that happen as the older you get. Only thing was, it was still a little bit of a shock for me, because I'm like, what? I gotta do what? Number 2 would be the whole adjustment, and I think that number 2 pointer is going to be the highlight of this whole conversation, is adjustment, because as the child, there's a huge adjustment being made that us as a child, we have to get used to. I will say the first thing is to go ahead and have an open mind. But yeah, so adjusting to his parenting style was, I think that was the most difficult thing for me. Like, dealing with divorce was not a difficult thing for me, because it happened when I was so little that everything was pretty much normal for me. Me visiting my daddy, getting to talk to him on the phone all the time. We always talked on the phone all the time. I saw him every summer. To me, everything was cool. I didn't really see anything as an issue. It didn't make me sad. There were a few times that I would ask my mom about it, just question her. The older I got, I would be like, what happened with you and daddy? Or why are you guys not together? And of course, I wouldn't get a full answer because I was so little, but I did notice that they were not together, is the point I'm trying to make. The biggest and hardest adjustment had to be adjusting to a new person living with my mom and I, and adjusting to a new parenting style. Cause honey, woo! Adjusting is hard. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Worth it in the end, but hard. Cause they're just two opposites, you know, in that sense of parenting style. Like, my mom, like I said, very sweet, kind, soft-spoken, lovely, and like, that's all I ever knew, and it worked. She could easily just be like, hey, Shug, make sure that before you leave out this house, if you want to go to your friend's house or something like that, make sure that the dishes are clean before you leave the house. Or once your movie is over, can you go handle those dishes up real quick? And it would just always get done exactly how she said it, and it was just like, you know, wonderful. But my dad was more like, I'm not trying to throw him under the bus, because I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say. He just had a more of a strict parenting style. I struggle with finding the right words, because when I was younger and growing up, I did not like it. I didn't like it. But now that I'm older, I see things a little bit differently. I'm over that. I don't hold a grudge. I love my dad. So I'm trying to like, you know, word everything correctly. So compared to my mom, his style of parenting was just a little, like, it was more strict. So it was more like to me, never no physical type of thing. Never none of that. But just very, you know, even when he talked, I'm so sensitive. I'm a sensitive person. I don't know if it's because of my sign. I don't know if it's because I'm a girl. I don't know what it is, but I'm so sensitive. And even to this day, I will take something personal in a heartbeat. And I'm not even gonna lie. So even something like his tone would have me about to cry or feeling away. He talks more with more oomph. and more like, he's a tough guy. My dad is a tough guy, you know. He's not all sensitive and sentimental. He's more like I'm gonna tell you like it is, you right or you wrong, or like, you know, like it's just black and white. And I'm just so sensitive. It was just like hard to adjust to it. On the bright side, it gave me very thick skin. Like, I could take so much more now than what I probably would have been able to take back then, because it took me a while to get used to it. And after many talks with him and many talks with my mom, I came to a better understanding the older I got. I mean, it took me a long time to understand. I'm talking about like probably once I went away to college and came back from college to understand that everybody's just different, and you have to try to find the intent behind what people are doing and saying instead of worrying about how you took it. And I know for a fact that my dad's intention was never to hurt my feelings. I don't think that his intention was ever to make me sad or like make me cry or make me want to cry. It's just like he would say something and his tone would make me feel like he's yelling at me. And I don't like to be yelled at, especially if I didn't do anything wrong. I just don't like being in trouble. I feel like I'm such a good kid and a good person all the time. And it's like, well, why would you yell at me instead of just telling me nicely to do it? Because I'm going to do it. So it would hurt my feelings and make me so sad when I felt personally attacked, or like I felt like I'm being yelled at. It was the tone. But like I said, as I got older, I had to just kind of understand that that may not have been the person's intent. It's just how I took it. And people grow up different. People have different personalities. It's a part of dealing with different personalities. And me dealing with that helped me a lot growing up. As I went to college, as I worked at different jobs with all these millions of personalities, I had to grow tough skin. Like, I was really a sensitive and shy and quiet kid growing up. And now I would not change one thing for the world, because my skin is so tough now. And I really do thank my dad, because he showed me tough love. I know for a fact that his intentions was never to hurt me. I know that for a fact that his intentions was never to make me feel unhappy. And I 100% feel that way now. But I felt that at the same time, he taught me to grow up. He taught me to have responsibility, and he taught me to have tough skin, and he taught me that in life you're gonna have to deal with different personalities, and you're gonna have to learn how, like, you know, how to handle it, how to boss up. I feel like that's what I appreciate the most. It molded me to be a tougher person, because that's needed. You can't be so soft in this world. But yeah, other than that, I will say as a third tip is to just look outside of yourself and not be so selfish to the point where you're only thinking about yourself. Because one selfish thought would be like, oh, I wish it was just me and my mom again. Like, we had such a good time, and then this person just come in the middle and mess up what we got. You know, it's a selfish thought, because everybody deserves love. Everybody deserves happiness. And I know for a fact that my mom is so happy. I feel like she found her soulmate. And that makes me happy to know that she's taken care of, because I know that my mom is taken care of. I know that she is loved and protected at all times. So that makes me happy. And then for the simple fact that both of my fathers, my daddy and my dad, love me so much, makes me happy as well. Like, I appreciate their love. They tell me all the time how much they love me. And they tell me all the time, like, you know, the advice you give your daughter about guys and dating. And they make it very well known that if anybody is not treating me right, you know, not to take crap from nobody and not to take disrespect from nobody. Whether that be people putting their hands on me, talking to me crazy, disrespecting me, none of that is like an option. And that's how I live my life. I set that standard for myself with anybody that I date. And I feel good knowing that not only do I have one father that I can go to if something was to go down, I got 2. And I know they not our age, but they can handle themselves. That's all I'm saying. They can handle themselves. With my daddy, being that I still am a working woman, I don't get to see him all the time still. So whenever we do see each other, we are just so excited. We can't wait until whatever date that is. We call each other all the time, keep up with each other all the time, laugh together, talk together. I've had my dad in my life since I was 8. I've had my daddy in my life since birth. So it's like, I've known these guys most of my life and all of my life. I think that everything happens for a reason. God never puts more on us than we can bear. So he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Everything happens in the way God plans for it to happen. But yes, I hope that this story time, or should I call it a convo? It's more like a convo. I hope that you enjoyed it. Maybe if you had to deal with this growing up, it helped you, or you were able to relate, or maybe you were just able to get to know me. You were able to get to know me a little bit better. I hope I was able to shed a more positive light on divorce and step parents, because it's really not a bad thing. Mixed families are a beautiful thing. I get along with my dad's side of the family. They're my family. I've been around them for so long. And it's like, you know, the more family, the better. Like, there's no negative to having more family. And my fathers know each other. They get along. They don't talk on the phone and stuff like that. But, like, if they were to see each other, it's a good time, is what I'm saying. And I just think that's all a blessing. I love them both dearly. I've learned so much from them. They have both molded me into who I am today, along with my mom, of course, my bestie. So shout outs to all three of y'all, because I love them so much. And you guys, I think I'm done with this conversation. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to my channel. And I am coming back with some more wig videos, if you're wondering, okay? I just been, while I'm fasting, it's still Lenten season, and that's Lenten, okay? In my video, I put Lenten, that is wrong, it's Lenten. So I just been kind of in chill mode, trying to keep it a little bit simple, you know, fasting and things like that. So I haven't been doing all the wigs and stuff like that. Like, literally for this video, I just put this on with my hat and I'm like, hey! I will be back with more videos, more wig videos. If that's what you enjoy, please stay tuned. And I will see you guys later with another freaking video.